Hello, 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 and welcome to my video. Now, this is just going to be a quick video about new distillers. If you're looking at coming into the field and want to know what's the best still, this is the one for you. Now, you can get aftermarket stills which are like kegs that have been converted. I wouldn't recommend this if you're starting because it's a lot more of a steeper learning curve. So I'd recommend two types of stills, both of them from Still Spirits because they are the market leader. Get in, have a bit of a play, learn for a year, 2 years or more, and either stay like that or progress. At the end of the day, just be careful. Don't jump into it. So, first still. This is the air still. Beautiful little kit, holds 4 litres. Now, this is great for people who are just starting out. You literally put in 4 litres of spirit into there, put on the lid, connect it all up, get your collection container, stick it on there, and then wait for it to drip. This takes this is an 8-year-old version, so it's a lot slower, but this takes me 4 hours to extract my 4 litres. Downside is that when you're doing a standard wash, it's 25 litres, and there's normal brewing buckets. And because it's only 4 litres, you need to run it 6 times, so it does take a lot longer to do, but it's so easy because it's all air. What happens is that you've got the vapor comes up through the tube, comes up to a coil, big old fan in there, spinny, spinny, lots of air, cools it down, drip, drip, drip as it condenses. Really simple, really nice and simple. I like this. You're looking at around about £150 in the UK to buy one of these. Really cute. Now the downside is this is what's called a pot still. So whatever's in here and gets into vapor will condense back into liquid and will come out. So you will get a lot of anything that's in here, meaning you will be getting sulfurs and other minerals and other things that it can create off flavors. Now, if you've never done distilling before, you probably won't care, and you won't necessarily see them, smell them, or feel or taste them. And I was really happy 6 years of running this. But unfortunately, there is also no copper in there. Now, copper is a really good thing to have in a still because that can help neutralize sulfur vapors that come up. And that's a bit of an eggy smell and taste. And this doesn't have any. So, a bit of a downside. The good side is it's a lot cheaper, a lot smaller footprint, really easy to use. So, really, really a great little still. And I'd highly recommend it. The next one's the T500 boiler. Now, the issue is, this is called the T500 boiler. And the actual head that you'll put on there for distilling is called the Turbo T500 or the Turbo 500. Now, nobody calls it the Turbo 500. We all call it the T500. So now when someone says they've got a T500, are they talking about the boiler or are they talking about the head? Realistically, it makes no difference. The boiler is just a boiler, or it's just something to heat up liquid and turn it into vapor. So really doesn't matter. Great boiler. I personally used to use it all the time. But there are little things like the tap's all plastic and it's really slow. There are no handles. You have to hold it at the bottom. And all you can use it for is distilling, nothing else. So I upgraded my boiler to the Love Brewing boiler. It's got a digital controller. So you can dial in like 110 degrees Celsius, get it to boil, get it to work great. But then when you're starting your wash and you want 30 degrees Celsius water, just a nice warm temperature when you're actually putting the sugar and everything else in, or dial in 30, go. Can't do that with the T500 boiler. So, and the other bonus is this takes 25 litres. So when you've done your whole wash, you just dump it in here, switch it on, and it goes. One use, or not one use, but one run. You don't have to keep running it like little air still. So what you do, you bolt it together. Now there will be what's called packing inside the tube, but I'll go about that and talk about that in a second. Stick this on. And then you have a output tube, which goes on and then that goes into your collection container, like so. You've got to wire that up to your tap. Now that could be in your bathroom, your kitchen sink, your outside sink, shed tap, whatever you got. And then another tube comes out to go into your sink or collection container to extract warm, cooling water. It'll be clean, so you can use it and recycle it for this. And you've got a temperature sensor here, which will display the temperature of the output water. Now, the way this works is, say, this will be full of stainless steel or copper little, like small little bits of packing. This heats up, turns into vapor, comes up to here, and then when it touches the colder metal, it'll fall back down again. That gets a little bit warmer. And it keeps going up a little bit further, and it keeps getting warmer and warmer until eventually you get up to the top. Now, every time the vapor comes up and condenses and falls back down again, it leaves behind some of the crap, the bits we don't want, the minerals and sulfur and everything else, and it leaves a bit more of the ethanol coming down. So as it goes up further and further, more cleaner, purer ethanol and methanol, sadly, will come up here. For 13 centimeters up here is a copper tube, spiral tube that goes up, stops around about here, and it just goes straight down out to there. So what the cooling water does, it goes up through here, around, so now it's spiraling down. So as the vapor's coming up, it's hitting cold tubes, it's vapor condensing again and falling back down again. And again, going through all the packing, therefore getting cleaner. Once it does get as like 92 to 93% pure ethanol, it can make its way through, but it's so thin, it can just escape out. It goes through another tube through here to the product condenser. Now this has a single tube which goes down in the middle, all the way down output here. But this tube goes up and has like a spiral around the output tube, which then has the cold water coming in. So that will then make that very, very cold. So all the vapor that comes down gets cold, condenses, turns back into spirit, and out there. So really good. This is beautiful for stripping the flavors, the off flavors, and anything else in there that we don't really want. So it creates a lot nicer spirit. Works really well. Now, most of this packing will be stainless steel. We'll want some copper in it. It does come with it because copper is good for stripping out sulfur vapor. And there's like the eggy smell. Now, for those who want to, you can stop using the packing that comes with it and buy copper packing like SPP, which is short for spiral prismatic packing. That is awesome stuff. That's what I personally use, and that then helps get rid of even more sulfur as well as strip, because it's a lot smaller objects than the standard packing that's in here. You might then say, well, how much copper do we need? And the problem is you never know. There is no litmus paper or things you can dip in to then find out how much sulfur is left. So what you can do, not buy another boiler, but you can buy the copper version of the T500. And that way, while you're still using either stainless steel, or you could replace that with the copper, you're getting even more copper contact, so you're pretty much guaranteed that you've got no sulfur left in there. So that works really, really well. And you can go, I want more. So you can. You can then, by all means, upgrade it even more, and you get the copper dome head, or the alembic dome head. Now, what this does is it gives you a lot more copper contact and also a lot more headroom. Now, the reason why you might want headroom, put that on there, is you'll have unspent or uneaten sugars, let's say, and other ingredients in here. When it gets to like 88, 90% or degrees centigrade, it could start foaming and creating bubbles. Now, while you'll put in here what's called distiller's conditioner, or if you're like me, you'll be using vegetable oil or butter or things like that instead, which is a lot more natural, you will still get a little bit of foam. Now, if you're getting a lot of foam, that will then go up into the chamber, clog all this up, and you'll get what's called a puke, where your output, rather than being like a drip, drip, spurt, drip, drip, spurt, it will just be a taps permanently on, and it will be an absolute mess. So you'll need to stop it, strip it down, clean everything, figure out what's gone wrong, fix it, rerun it again, which takes time. That obviously gives you a lot more headroom. So if you do get a lot of foam in there, 25 litres about here, so you get that much foam and then all this again. So it will really, really help. Now, this is great for neutral vodkas if you're making a neutral spirit, if you're making a vodka or want to make a gin or things like that. If you want to make a whiskey or a rum, or you've just brewed 40 pints of a stout, oh, it's not nice. I don't want to throw it in a bin. Let's shove that stout or other strong flavoured beer into the bill and let's distill it. Let's make a distilled stout. But you can. Downside of all the packing, it's going to strip all the flavours off, and then you're going to be wasting it. So what you can do is remove all the packing, and it turns it into a kind of a pot still mode. So that way you're getting the flavours through. Reflux strips, pot still keeps the flavours. The other thing you can do, pour this pipe off and put a tube onto that, straight to the sink. So that way you've got no refluxing whatsoever. The vapors come out and then get condensed. And that works really well on either version, and it worked really well. Or you can buy the dedicated pot head. Sorry, that's a pot head dome. This is the alembic pot condenser. Now this will fit on that or this. So then all you do is you would take this, you put this in here. Now, while I'm trying to get the thread right, there we go. No. This can often be a bit of a problem, especially when you're rushing it for the camera. There we go. Now, like the T500 reflux column, you still need water in there. So you still need water to be able to cool and condense. You've got your input here, which is be a tube off to your tap, and output here, which will then go off to your sink. You have a temperature sensor, which goes in there, so you can see the temperature of the vapor. So you can see once it's like 88% or 88 degrees Celsius, you know it will start getting ready. You need to put the cold water on quickly, and your distillate will come out here. So your collection container, you don't want to be resting like that. So it's quite possible you'll need to put some books or something else on there, or get a copper tube and rest it on. They do provide you with silicone, a PVC tube. Personally, I wouldn't use it because there's a whole thing over using plastics and rubber with high spirit ABV, but that's something for a different video. So there you go. Now, downside, £150. £200, £200, maybe £220, about 160, and I think about 120 or so. So as you can see that obviously if you want just the basic, that's £400. If you would like the dome as well to give you a bit more height and headroom, well, you need it on the floor. Look how high it is. So you're now looking at about £560. And then if you want the product, the alembic condenser as well, you're talking nearly £600. Or over £600. So it can get over and be quite expensive compared to 150. Bonuses though is that these can be run as one run, job done. This 6 runs. Nice small footprint, big footprint. Creates okay alcohol. Not brilliant, but I ran it for 6 years, loved it. So it is good, but it's only when you taste this spirit you realize how this isn't so great. Like, it's good. So realistically, there's lots of pros and cons. There really is between what you go for. If you are looking to just do little bits of distilling, more vodkas, gins, and neutralish style things, and say you're not going to be distilling much, and you really are not someone who wants to play and mess around, yeah, Still's one for you. If you're going to potentially want to do some playing, some messing around and going, well, I want to do this, and maybe you could do this, then this is your route. Both of them can take a little botanical basket, which clip either on the inside of the lid and the inside of the lid, which allow you to put juniper berries and other dried fruits and things like that in there to be able to create the gin directly in here. Or you can then create the neutral, stick it in a glass container, put some strawberries, kiwis, anything else you want in there, and to make your drink, and actually soak them in, and then use coffee filters to filter it afterwards. Again, they're both open to you. So it's not saying you can't do it. It's just more people who like good quality and don't want to mess around. People who want to play, but obviously you've got the water supply, you've got to monitor it, you've got a needle valve, you've got to change. So there's a bit of playing with these, but there's a lot more future scope. I've also adapted mine. So I've got an adapter between the two, the lid and the actual T500. I've got then 51 inches of 2-inch thick or 2-inch diameter tubing with even more packing. So I get even more stripping, and I can get 95.5% alcohol, which is the highest you can physically get with a still. Standard 92 to 93, standard around about 64%. So as you can see, it's a lot less pure. You'll still filter them down or water them down to 40% alcohol to make a drink. So that wise, no real difference. But these are a lot purer, a lot better. If you've got the money, then go down this route. But again, you've still got to think, you've still got to play. So it's up to you, really. If you've got any questions, let me know. I hope you found this video useful. And but hey, it's a great sport, great hobby, great sport. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.